Hair tissue mineral analysis is truly one of the most invaluable tools you'll use on your journey back to health. A little bit about hair tissue mineral analysis. In 1979, the United States EPA actually published a 300-page study on toxic metals and hair analysis. They went through about 400 different studies, and they determined that hair is a meaningful and representative tissue for biological monitoring for most of the toxic metals. It really showed a lot of promise for diagnostic tools, especially with the increase in health issues because of all the toxic metals in our environment. But in 1985, a study in JAMA was published debunking hair tissue mineral analysis. The author clearly had a conflict of interest. He actually used hair from his daughter's shoulder length all the way at the bottom and not the scalp, which is one of the main protocols in HTMA. It was just proven that the medical community did not want this great diagnostic tool because the healthcare wants to keep us sick. They don't want to actually get us better, and they just could not have this come out into the world. HTMA is just a really great tool. It tests for at least 20 minerals. It shows deficiencies, toxicities, and imbalances. It's very non-invasive, especially since all you have to do is cut your hair as close to your scalp as you can and send it in. It's so easy. It's affordable considering the amount of information you'll get from it. And hair tests are used worldwide for detecting drugs, DNA, and toxic chemicals. So it makes no sense why it's verified for use for so many different ways, but it's not good enough for mineral detection. It makes no sense how they're contradicting themselves with that. So why would we do a hair tissue mineral analysis? It's more accurate than blood testing. Blood is actually homeostatic, so it's always changing and it's always trying to keep itself as healthy as possible. The mineral levels are higher in hair than blood, so it's easier to detect mineral levels. The hair grows quickly, and it shows us a recent picture of mineral status. It tends to show us what's been going on in the last few months, where blood just shows us right now. And the body actually throws toxic substances into the hair, especially heavy metals like mercury and excess copper. A hair tissue mineral analysis can detect lifestyle imbalances, especially excess stress. We tend to waste minerals when we're under stress, and that will show in the hair tissue mineral analysis. It shows us dietary problems, how our energy and vitality is. It shows gland health, especially the thyroid and adrenals, which are two of the most important aspects of health. HTMA shows us our carbohydrate tolerance, our toxic metal levels, and whether they are hidden or if they're actually being excreted in the hair properly. It can actually detect 60 common illnesses. This is one of the reasons why it's not so widespread, because the medical community does not want us healing. They just want us to manage our symptoms. HTMA can also detect psychological and emotional issues. Anyone who's been a victim of any trauma will actually see a certain pattern on their hair because of the way that we waste our minerals during these kinds of things. And HTMA is actually really used for pets and farm animals. Many farmers use them for their horses, especially because you know how important it is to keep our livestock healthy for us to consume. So if it's good enough for animals to make sure that they stay up to par with their health, then it's good enough for us. Minerals are the spark plugs of life. They run our whole bodies. They activate millions of enzymes in our bodies, and this is why deficiencies and imbalances are so common, because we do not have the minerals to properly run our bodies. The standard American diet, it sets us up for such poor health, and especially because our soils are so depleted of these minerals that we need. So our food is less nutritious. We physically can't even eat enough food in a day to meet the recommended daily allowance for a lot of minerals. In 1936, there was a Senate meeting to discuss this issue of mineral depleted soils. So almost 100 years ago, politicians knew about the dire need of minerals in our soils, but instead they're treating us with drugs and pretending that nutrition is not important and that it's not the root cause of our illness. I left the discussion of the Senate meeting and the resources for you. It's a really interesting read, and it's really scary to know that they could care less about our health, basically. So this is why we need to take charge of our own health and help fix ourselves.